So the teams will be coming out in a moment. Actually, Belmont, we see Watertown on their sideline. The Belmont Marauders will be coming out. And as far as players playing or not playing, Joe, just to allude to your point, both teams appear to be in full health, and we'll see all the big names you'd expect in this rivalry today. But just to kind of briefly tell you how these teams got here, we mentioned you can throw the records out the window, but if you want to know the records, both teams come into this game 4-6. They did take a slightly different route of getting here. Watertown, actually, last year coming off a 7-5 season when they reached they were Division 5 North champions. They were one game shy of reaching the D5 Super Bowl. They came back this year with only 8 seniors, though, and they started the year 1-6, including 0-5 in the Middlesex League Freedom Division. Then they, when they went to the non-playoff bracket, the Raiders have won 3 straight games against Linfield, Boston Latin, and Newburyport. So they're playing better of late. And they also have Mungay Kamara, their star running back, who has been dealing with a high ankle sprain most of the season. But in the last game Watertown played against Newburyport, he ran for 254 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's someone you got to pay attention to if you're going to run for 254 yards in a game. Yeah,
he's number 21 for Watertown. Will be wearing the white jerseys with the black pants and the red helmets. On the Belmont side, everyone is in good health. And, of course, the Marauders this year, as we said, made the MIAA playoffs for the first time in school history. Of course, this new playoff structure has only been in place since 2013, but it all started with that opening day win against Milton, or opening night win, you could call it.
That was an unbelievable game. That was a great way to start the season. That set the tone for the year.
Well, Milton was ranked in the Boston Globe preseason poll in the top 20. So, and here come the Marauders out onto the field. Getting ready to run through the banner here, and being led by their 5 senior captains, who I got the pleasure to meet. We hope you check out the latest TOST Toddcast with Coach Q and the 5 senior captains: Killian O'Connell, Jared Edwards, Mike Delhome, Sam Sagarian, and Jake Parsons. And a team that is very deep in seniors, as a matter of fact. In fact, maybe it's going to be Belmont's senior experience. I mean, this was a team we said that made the playoffs this year. And as far as seniors go, the Marauders have 22 of them, only 8 on the Watertown side. So maybe that senior experience is what's going to carry the day. There's Captain Sam Sagarian coming. He got to carry the flag in, the Marauder flag. He's revved up. The players are revved up. The fans are slowly trickling in as they have waited till the absolute last moment to take their chilly aluminum seats. I guess everyone's got some kind of padding or something. We should also point out, Joe, unfortunately it's going to be a little more quiet than we would like to have it at a game like this with all the wonderful traditions, because of the fact, it's too cold for the Belmont Marching Band. A very talented Belmont High School Marching Band led by Paul Ketchen. They will not be out here today. So,
but the cheerleaders are. I do see the cheerleaders. I heard that they didn't know if they were going to be here today. They are here. Watertown cheerleaders, I'm sorry.
No, those are Belmont cheerleaders.
It says Belmont on the jackets. Yeah, it says Belmont on the jackets.
2018.
We got some tough kids in Belmont.
Meanwhile, all of the captains are out there on both sides. The 3 Watertown captains are senior quarterback Nick McDermott, senior tight end Yosef Hamad, and the aforementioned senior running back Mungay Kamara.
Yeah, we're about ready to kick it off here. Toe meets leather here on the 97th meeting of Belmont and Watertown. You know what, Todd? Outside of the cold, the wind isn't really that bad where we're situated. I mean, it's a bright, sunny day. You couldn't ask for better weather as far as field conditions go. Outside of, I don't know how much the wind's going to affect the passing game. I don't know how much these 2 teams are going to pass the ball anyway with the quality of running backs that they have on both sides. So it's a great day for high school football. It's a great way to end a lot of these seniors' careers. And like I said, there's a lot of these kids are never going to put pads on again, and this is it. So they will leave everything on the field.
Well, Joe, this is actually the first Thanksgiving Day game here at Harris Field that has the press box.
Right.
And I think that's actually helping to cut down on the wind. We're situated right in front of the press box.
Let me just specify, it's a press box that Todd and I are not in because we are standing out
sheltered by it.
We are sheltered to the rear, but we are not in the heated press box with Al right now.
No, we are not. That would be Al Gledhill, the longtime Belmont High public address announcer. So I believe, did the Marauders win the toss there? I think they did. I was trying to watch the officials, and but here we go. We're getting ready. Again, moments away from kickoff, and it looks like, I believe the Marauders have won the toss, and they've elected to receive, I would think, or perhaps defer. We've seen the Marauders defer before, but on Thanksgiving Day, I think you want to get the ball first. I think you want to make an offensive statement. So I don't know if you want to defer. Yeah,
it seems like, though, a lot of these high school teams and a lot of high school, college, if they win the toss, they defer because they would rather have the ball to start the second half. And Bill Belichick's math is you may have the ball at the end of the first half to be able to do something, put the points up, and then you get the ball right away to start the second half so you get a chance to put more points up on the board. And it seems like a lot of these high school teams are going that way.
Going to momentarily pause and honor America with our national anthem. In lieu of the Belmont High School Marching Band, we had a lovely sung rendition of our anthem, and again, we are just moments away from kickoff.
That rendition was recorded in the studio this week by myself, Joseph Habelow. I was actually the person singing the national anthem there today.
Were you really?
If you believe that,
okay, yeah,
if you believe that, I've got some ocean property in Belmont that you might be interested in.
There you go. Well, I'll check back in with you in about 70 years because maybe it would be ocean property.
Yeah, it will be.
Maybe sooner, who knows. But Marauders coming out in their all-maroon outfits with the white numerals, the maroon helmets. The Marauders appear to be getting ready to receive. Back deep to receive for the Marauders. On the near side is number 26, senior Joe LaFosse. On the far side, number 23, senior Emmanuel Clark. Clark, by the way, with 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns this year. It is the first time in the Coach Q era that the Marauders have returned a kickoff for a touchdown. And in fact, Clark has done it twice, most recently last week in the Marauders game against Melrose.
Look at this kickoff formation for Watertown. Instead of kicking off in the middle of the field, they're on the far hash mark closest to the Belmont bench. So, and they has to hold the ball because of the wind today.
Mungay Kamara, who will be mentioning his number a lot when he is running the ball, is actually kicking it off. It's a short kickoff. It goes up one of the off men, and there is a scramble for the ball, and it's possible Watertown may have recovered.
It looked like it went off of one of the Belmont up men. It went off of his left.
Ryan Hoffman
got down on it.
Yeah, it was originally a squibbed kick, and it went off of number 55, Ryan Hoffman, and Watertown has recovered. So a bit of a fluky start here, and Watertown will get the ball at the Belmont 40 to start the 97th edition of the Marauders and the Raiders here on Turkey Day.
So an inadvertent onside kick bounces off of an up man on Belmont, and Watertown recovers the ball. So there goes the momentum for the Belmont-Watertown. For the Belmont offense as they were getting ready to try to score first. And now Watertown takes over great field position on the Belmont 40-yard line.
And in essence, it's like they won the toss because they're getting the ball. They're getting the ball first on offense. Again, their quarterback, senior Nick Mcdermott, who last year set a school record passing for nearly 2,000 yards. This year the numbers have not been as good. He hasn't had quite the skill players around him. But again, keep an eye on number 21, Mungay Kamara. And on 1st and 10, the handoff goes for a gain of maybe 2 or 3 yards, and we will wait to see who that is. That's number 22, David Manukian, a sophomore. Derek Brown, who's a number we called quite a bit on defense for the Marauders this year. He's had quite a few tackles for loss. He came up with the stop after a gain of 3.
Yeah, the Belmont defense has been pretty good this year. They've been pretty consistent. Great offensive line. The linebackers are very active, and they got people in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, that can cover one-on-one.
Belmont head coach taking over the defensive coordinator duties this year and calling the plays defensively has maybe made a difference too. It's certainly given a spark and an energy to this defense. Second down, and it's going to be another running play. Oh. Fumble. The ball is picked up, and on a fluke play, Mungay Kamara, although I don't think you can advance a fumble.
You can't advance a fumbled punt.
Okay.
I think that's the rule. You can't advance a fumbled punt.
Number 18, Kareem Monroe was the one who was who got the handoff, and he fumbled it. But now, I guess that's a touchdown, right?
That's a touchdown. I mean, you talk about weird start to the game. Belmont receives the kickoff. They fumble. Watertown recovers. On second down, Watertown fumbles. Kamara picks up the ball, downfield and runs in for a touchdown. And it's just,
well, here's the odd part. We've seen Mungay Kamara not get any handoffs yet, which is what that was how he came in his advertising.
Right.
Ran for 254 yards in their last game against Newburyport. So far, he's kicked off. He had a squib kick, and then he picks up a fumble, which I know if this was the NFL. Now, here is the kick. It is up. It is no good. That was number 34, Mason Andre, a freshman, missing the point after. But we've played just 62 seconds, and Watertown's already up 6-0. I know, Joe, if this was an NFL game, that ball would have been downed at the spot where Watertown picked it up because you can't advance a fumble.
I think the fumble rule is on a punt. You can't advance a fumbled punt, but I think if there's a fumble, I mean, if the offense fumbles the ball and it's clean and the offensive guy picks it up, you can advance that fumble. I mean, I've seen it so many times, and I believe that's the rule. I could be wrong. I've been wrong once, twice, just check with my wife, but I believe that you can advance an offensive fumble. I do believe that.
Well, so Watertown senior running back and one of their captains, Mungay Kamara, has made his presence felt, not in the way we expected here in the first 62 seconds. First, the squib kickoff that Watertown was able to basically turn into an onside kick that they recovered, and then Kamara picking up the loose ball on the fumble by Kareem Monroe, and he basically runs the last 20 or so yards for the touchdown. So once again, Kamara to kick off from the 40, and again it's LaFosse near side, Emmanuel Clark far side, back deep for Belmont. We'll see how far this kick goes. Well, it's squibbed once again, and it's
I don't believe it.
That ball is picked up, and here goes Kamara. Kamara's got the ball, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds. Except he was out of bounds. He's inside Belmont's 10-yard line. What an unbelievable start.
I can't believe this. I don't think I've ever seen this on any level of football, and all the football I've watched. The first kickoff bounces off a Belmont player. Watertown recovers it. 2 plays later, they're in the end zone. The kickoff again, Belmont can't recover it. Kamara picks up the ball, and now they're first and goal at the 7-yard line.
You'd almost think these were like designed trick plays, but they're not. One thing I would say is, given the cold conditions today, this may not be the worst strategy in the world for Watertown head coach John Kakachi in his 12th season to employ here. Just kick it low and hard on the ground, and maybe hope the Marauders can't pick it up.
But you know what? If you gotta get some people up front that can catch the ball. Fall on a fumble or something, because we're, a minute and 11 seconds in, and Watertown.
First and goal, here's Kamara, and he is inside the 5-yard line.
We played less than 2 minutes, and Watertown's about to go up by 2 touchdowns. The first, second and goal inside the 5, and it's just, this is not the start Belmont expected.
No, especially with all the momentum. Again, we were talking before kickoff, like this feels like it could be the year for the Marauders. They made the playoffs for the first time in school history, and actually this Watertown team, even if they win today, they're going to finish with their first losing record in 10 years.
Right.
So it felt like this was the year, and there's still going to be plenty of time left here. It's second and goal. McDermott under center. He'll hand off, and that will be a touchdown for David Manukian, the sophomore running back.
So we played less than 2 minutes. We've had 2 fumble kickoffs by Belmont. We've had a fumbled you know, on Watertown on the offense that Camaro recovered and ran in for a touchdown. They kicked off. We had another fumble on Belmont. Watertown recovered, got it down inside the 10-yard line, and now they score with 9:06 still to go in the first period.
And the Marauder fans here at Harris Field are absolutely stunned, as I'm sure they are on the Belmont sideline, and right here behind the mics too. We are certainly, this was not the open that we envisioned for this game.
And so what do you think the strategy is going to be on this kickoff, Todd?
Oh, it's probably the same. It'll be Kamara again, just drilling it into the ground and seeing if he can kick it off an up man, and maybe, you know, as was the last kickoff, maybe he'll recover it himself again.
Yeah,
Andre with the point after. That thing has got to be like kicking a boulder today, but this time he splits the uprights. 9:06 to go. That's right, friends. We played 1 minute and 54 seconds here in the 97th edition of Belmont Watertown. It is already Watertown 13 and Belmont nothing, as the Raiders look for their 7th straight win in this series that they lead all time. 48 wins to 43 for Belmont, and there have been 5 ties.
If there's anything that's good about Watertown coming out like this and scoring quickly, is we still got 9 minutes and 6 seconds to go in the first period. If Belmont can just, you know, recover the kick, because they're going to get good field position. They're going to, you know, be up around the, you know, 45 or 50-yard line, so they're going to have field position. But if they can just cover a kick, you know, and get this offense going, they still got a shot at this game.
Here's my question, and something that maybe the special teams, Scott Giusti, the Belmont special teams coach, those deep men for the Marauders, maybe they should just play up more and take a chance that they're going to kick it over your head, because I don't even know if Watertown is capable. They've used a lot of different kickers this year, with Kamara doing the kicking right now. Adam Habelow, number 7, has been kicking most of their extra points this year, but we've seen Andre doing the place kicking today. So, and
you can see the way he places the ball in the tee. I mean, why would he change? Look at that! Look at that!
Another one. It goes 10 yards. It will be. Well, hang on.
This can't happen again. This cannot. This cannot.
The ball's apparently loose. Let's see what the officials call.
Oh my God! I have never in my entire life, 63 years of living, seen a football team kick 3 onside kicks to start a game and recover 3 onside kicks to start a game.
That was Narag Stepanian, one of the 22 seniors, along with sophomore Jonathan Williams, who was trying to recover that. Hang on, wait a minute, we're going to have a discussion now. Coach Q.
Did it go 10 yards?
Well, I think that's it.
Did it go 10 yards?
Well, wait a minute, they were kicking off from the 40 though, right? The ball wasn't it beyond midfield? I think it went 10 yards. I don't think that's a question, is it?
Well, they're moving the ball back, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here.
Are they going to have to re-kick this? No, I don't, well... I think there's confusion reigns here on Turkey Day.
The ball right now is placed at the Watertown 40-yard line. I'm not exactly sure why it's back there, if the ball was recovered on the other side of the 50.
I'm wondering if they're going to make them kick off again.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on right now, but all I do know is I've just seen for the first time in my life, you know, 3 onside kicks recovered by the kicking team 3 times in a row. I've never seen that.
I mean, to the Marauders right now, it must feel like that football is not only hard and frozen, but it's like covered in grease, because I mean they can't seem to.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? You gotta get people up front that can catch the ball. You gotta get. You know, if this is what they're doing, you got to get your receivers and your backs up front. It looks like he's done that.
Well, Emmanuel Clark just shifted up a little bit, although he's going to move back now.
So they are kicking again. I have no idea why.
Well, here's the other thing. If there's a penalty on Watertown for them picking it up before it went 10 yards, then why did they kick it off from the same spot? It should be they should kick it from 5 yards further back. It should be a penalty.
And it doesn't look like there was any penalty call. There were no flags thrown. It's a more traditional setup for Watertown now.
Well, Kamara's still doing the kicking, so let's just watch this. I am guessing he's going to squib it again. No, now he's going to pop it up. And it will be fair.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't believe it.
The ball is loose.
No. I can't believe this.
Well, and you know what? Here's the other thing. That was number 84, Preston Jackson Stevens, who was trying to, but I don't think he called for a fair catch,
I didn't see
which meant he was fair game to be tackled, and that's what happened, and that knocked the ball loose, and Watertown is recovered at the Belmont 37.
You talk about taking the steam out of your sails. They kick off, a more traditional kickoff. He pops it up, Belmont can't catch the ball in the air, and now Watertown takes over again at where? At the Belmont 37-yard line.
And Coach Jan Kuhlman calls timeout very smartly right here because things could really get out of hand here in a hurry. And right now, Coach Q's got to get all these players back, get their heads right back in this game.
This defense has to stand up here. You can't give up more points. We still got 8 minutes and 56 seconds to go in the first quarter. And me and Al were talking in the press box before this game. If you get, 2 or 3 possessions in the first half, you're doing good in a game like this and weather like this. And now Watertown, right now, with 8:56 to go in the first period, is about to go on offense again for the 3rd time already.
I wonder if John Kakachi, if this is something he almost dreamed up this morning. The Watertown team was very late in arriving here, and I know part of it had to do probably with the temperatures, and they just wanted to stay in warm conditions as long as they could. But still, boy, this is an incredible game plan that's worked, and of course they had to they had to kick off to be able to do it. The pass to Kamara is complete, and it's going to be a touchdown.
He couldn't have been more wide open.
No, he could not. Senior quarterback Nick McDermott finds a wide open Mungay Kamara, who scores his 2nd touchdown of the game, and we have yet to play 3 minutes in this ball game. It is now 19-0.
Todd, the worst part about this isn't that Watertown scored and is about to go up 20-0, but Belmont has to receive a kickoff again. That's the worst. That's the worst part of this game right now. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen the start of a football game like this. This is unbelievable.
As we said, this has been a down year for Watertown football. They're going to have their first losing record since 2008. Even if they win this game today, and I'm sure Coach Kakachi looked at it as the extra point is up and good. With 8:47 to go in the first quarter, it is now Watertown 20 and Belmont nothing. With 3, we've played 2 minutes and 13 seconds. But again, Joe, I think Coach Kakachi probably told his guys, we're coming to this game as underdogs. We didn't make the playoffs this year. We struggled. We've won 3 in a row versus non-playoff competition. But, I think they kind of looked at this. I bet you Belmont's feeling this is the year because they made the playoffs. They're feeling confident. They're feeling good. So he came in, probably tried to play the big chip on the shoulder. We're going on the road. We got to go to their place. And just tried this crazy strategy, something that I'm sure they haven't employed all year. Maybe the weather conditions are playing into this somewhat. But they took some chances. I don't even think Coach Kakachi could have imagined this was going to turn out so successful for him.
Remember with the start of the game when we were talking about this is the first time in a few years we felt like Belmont had a chance? Well, those feelings are kind of wavering right now because with 8:40 to go in the first period, Watertown is now ahead 20-0.
And by the way, you got to credit Kamara. What an excellent kick that was. That time he popped it up instead of hitting it on the ground. He pops it up. One of the Belmont underclassmen doesn't call for a fair catch, so he's fair game. He gets tackled as he tries to catch it. Let's see what Kamara's got up his sleeve this time for a kick. It's going to be another pop-up. That is Rakai Joseph, number 3 back, and he went to a knee.
I guess I'm not supposed to cheer.
Well, you're getting the Belmont crowd here at Harris Field kind of employing a little bit of a Bronx cheer as the Marauders actually recover the kickoff. Rakai Joseph downing it around the Belmont 35.
20-0, 8:46 to go in the first period, and Belmont will now run their first offensive play of the game.
Down by 20 points, and we mentioned, I think we did briefly talk about this, Joe, whether it was on camera or off, that we thought this would be a day for the running backs just because of the cold temperatures, because of the wind conditions, and also Belmont's strength this year has been their run game.
Right.
So we'll see if Coach Q is going to stick with that. Marauders this year running for almost 1,700 yards as a team led by their 2 seniors, Killian O'Connell and Rakai Joseph, and right now it looks like that is Killian as the lone back. And he'll take the handoff on 1st and 10, and he'll push the pile a little bit forward up close to the 40-yard line. He'll bring up a 2nd down. O'Connell this year, led the Marauders with 774 rushing yards, averaging over 5.5 yards a carry and 7 rushing touchdowns.
But I think what this happened so fast, and Belmont got behind so quick that they still feel they don't have to start throwing the ball all over the place. They can still run the ball and establish the running game.
Now it looks like Rakai Joseph's in there. He'll take the pitch on 2nd down. Rakai Joseph looking to try to get in the open field. He turns the corner. He heads upfield, and Rakai Joseph is off. He's down the sidelines. One man
still on his feet.
He is still going, and he will score a touchdown. Joseph, who scores his 12th touchdown of the season. 10 of them have been on the ground.
You talk about a crazy start to a game, Todd. It's 7:51 to go in the first period, and we just had our 4th touchdown of the game. Belmont's run 2 offensive plays, and Rikai Joseph just took that, 63 yards to the house for a touchdown to get Belmont on the board.
I think 2 things we're noticing here in the very early going, Joe, because of the cold temperatures. Nobody really wants to get down and field a kickoff, and nobody wants to make a tackle because it looked like Rikai Joseph there were a couple chances for Watertown players to tackle Joseph out of bounds. He did not. The kick is no good. I think that hit off the upright.
Yeah, it did. The left upright.
Hampton Trout missing only his 5th point after of the season. He's now 23 for 28 on PATs. So with 7:51 to go here in the first quarter, it is Watertown 20 and Belmont 6.
So let's see what Belmont does now on this kickoff. They've obviously seen, how, Watertown did it when they were kicking off and Belmont wasn't able to catch a ball, fall on a fumble. Any way you could drop a football on a kickoff, Belmont did it in the first 3 kickoffs of the game. Let's see if Belmont, tries to do something like that, tries to get the ball down and hard right at someone and see if they get a lucky bounce and can get a recovery on the kickoff. Because if they do that, I mean, this has got to be a record already for 3.
For most points scored within 3 minutes.
3 fumbles on 3 kickoffs recovered by the kicking team and 3 touchdowns to follow.
I'm looking at the flagpole right now, Joe, and the wind as you're watching this game is blowing from left to right, which means Hampton Trout's got to kick into a very stiff breeze. What I was going to suggest is he still might want to kick it deep because Watertown players, as they go to receive this kickoff, are going to be staring right into the bright sun.
Right.
As there's nary a cloud out here today. Pretty much blue skies here on this Thanksgiving Day. Not that the sun's providing any bit of warmth at all, but here is Trout ready to kick off from the 40-yard line. It looks like it's Kamara and Brett Sutherland are back deep.
You don't want to kick it to number 21 for Watertown. You want to avoid him as much as possible. He's already killed you.
Yep, he's on the far side of the field. This will be kind of half squibbed. It's taken by Manukian, one of the up men. Manukian, and he is gang tackled and pushed backwards at the 36-yard line. And that's what the Marauders needed.
Now Belmont can learn by that on a kickoff that they don't have to fumble the ball. It's actually okay. It's not against the rules to catch it or fall on a fumble on a kickoff. So now we need a defensive stand right here, Todd. We can't give up any more points in the first quarter. We just can't. And you have to key on number 21. That touchdown by Watertown on the last play with Kamara was, 10 yards behind the defense, 10 yards behind the I think I could have caught that pass and made it into the end zone at that point, Todd. And I'm an old fat guy.
I think you might have had a chance.
I might have had a chance on that one, but they have to pay attention to that kid, number 21. You have to know where he is at all times on the field.
Well, and I'm sure that's something Coach Q and the entire Belmont High coaching staff had pounded into these players' heads for the last, almost 2 weeks leading up to this game. I mean, Kamara is their best player. We mentioned early on he's been hobbled for most of the season by high, but he's feeling much better now. McDermott's going to call his own number this time, and he'll be tackled over there on the near side by Rikai Joseph for a short game.
Yeah, that was a good defensive play right there. But this defense, we have to make plays. We have to get turnovers. We can't allow Watertown to score again, because if they do, like you said earlier, it could get ugly quick. Yeah, I mean, you could start losing your focus, start losing the whatever momentum you're trying to build up, and it could get real ugly real quick. 2nd
and 6 from the Watertown 42. McDermott, their senior quarterback, in a shotgun, but the direct snap goes to Kamara instead, and he'll get to about the 45, gain of only a couple. Marauders, nice gang tackling there, led by number 40, Ryan Santoro. That was a good defensive stand there. 3rd down here, we got to see what they would do. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Belmont gets a stop here. I wouldn't be surprised if Watertown went for it this side of the field. It wouldn't surprise me at all right now, even this early in the game. With all the momentum on the with a
Watertown
20-6 lead, though, isn't it a way to kind of invite Belmont back in the game?
Yeah, but I think they have all the momentum offensively. And
True.
And you got a back like Kamara, who, we've got to see what happens here on 3rd down, obviously.
First 3rd down attempt for Watertown in this game. McDermott's feeling a little bit of pressure.
Good pressure.
He will not be able to get the throw. Good coverage downfield by the Marauders, and they were able to get McDermott out of bounds. So the Marauders defense holds. And Watertown now 0 for 1 on third down conversions, despite the fact they've already scored 20 points.
And I think now, because of the loss and the defensive coverage was great downfield, I think now Watertown obviously has to punt. You got 4th down and 8 to go at at the 40-yard line. So Belmont, but now. People kicking the ball to us early in this game hasn't worked out well.
Well, there's a difference between a kickoff and a punt.
Yeah, now we have to make sure he corrals this punt. Don't do anything. Just catch the ball first.
It looks like it is Munge Kamara back to punt, and he's got the wind at his back. So if he can loft this in the air, he might get a little bit of lift from it.
Leave it alone.
It's going to be short, but it will bounce. And Marauders are just going to let this, but it will take a little bit of a Watertown roll and get down inside the Belmont 25 to the 24-yard line. That's where the Marauders will take over with 5:58 to go here in the first quarter.
Well, Todd,
and if you just, I normally save this for the second half, but if you just joined us on our live broadcast of the 97th annual Belmont Watertown football game, where the heck have you been? Normally I would have to save that for the fourth quarter, but we've already had an entire ball game in about 5 minutes.
It's been unbelievable, and the unbelievable thing for me right now is if Belmont can get a sustained drive and get some more points here, they're right back in this football game. Their defense made a great stop on that last stand on Watertown, and now we'll see what Belmont can do.
They certainly are. It's 3 wide receivers. Handoff will go to Killian O'Connell on first down, and he is met by several Raiders for a relatively short.
The ball came out.
It did, but it looks like Marauders were able to.
It looks like they blew him dead. They blew it dead. But still, I mean, got to hang on to the football. That's the first thing you have to think of. Is even if it 2 hands, you have to hang on to the football.
Well, right, Marauders have had enough practice here of having trouble holding out of the football, so now the coaches are stressing to them, okay, this is how you're going to have to hold it the rest of today.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be second down, and we'll call it about 7 or 8 yards, ball just outside of their 25. Avery Arno, the Belmont quarterback, in the shotgun. He'll hand off to Killian O'Connell. O'Connell in the open field, and he's got a first down up to the 38-yard line. And this is where, hopefully, whether it's Rakai Joseph or Killian O'Connell, one of the senior captains, these are 2 guys who, when they get in the open field, Joe, big things happen. We already saw Joseph break one for 61 yards, and Killian almost broke one there.
Yeah, if they can just keep this drive going and take some time off the clock. Obviously, if you get a long run, you want that, but take some time off the clock and get yourself right back in this football game for the second quarter.
Ball's at the 37. Joseph will get the handoff on first down, eludes 1 tackle. This is about the space where he scored a touchdown before.
Yep.
This time he's dragged out of bounds by junior Brennan Cook.
And that's Kamara, the running back for Watertown, the guy who kicks off, and the defensive back. A couple of the last offensive plays for Watertown, Rakai Joseph has been able to get that corner and get by Kamara to get the first down.
They actually, according to the roster sent to me by Coach John Kakachi, they have Kamara listed as a linebacker on defense. I don't know, maybe he's just sort of a general rover. He does look like he's playing back at the linebacker position, set up on the far side at the moment. Rakai Joseph, the deep man, and he'll get the pitch from Arno, but this time he is met by Kamara. So whether Kamara's job was to shadow Joseph on that play, he did it, and Rakai loses yards.
Yeah, that play fell apart right after the snap. That play wasn't going any place.
I think it's because nobody blocked Kamara.
Yeah, there was nothing up front. Kamara got in the backfield. There's 3:50 to go in the first quarter, and we've mentioned this kid from Watertown, Kamara, way too much.
Right, and I think we've mentioned Avery Arno's name maybe once. The junior quarterback who will be back for the Marauders next year. Joseph lost 6 on that first play, so it's 2nd and 16, the ball at the Belmont 44. And it looks like that might be Cedric Toussaint now getting the handoff, his first carry of the day, and he will get back to the original line of scrimmage, add a couple more yards into Watertown territory. Toussaint will probably be the lead running back next year. Or check that, I'm sorry, is that 33? That's Chad Francis, excuse me. He'll be in the competition for running. It's only Francis's 3rd carry of the season.
Yeah, and that was a nice run. You got some yards back. You got it in single digits as far as yards to go, and it's you can possibly do something here on 3rd and 7.
And, of course, given this field position, this is an area you might want to think about 4-down territory. We'll wait and see what the Marauders do 3rd and 7. They have to get to Watertown's 40 for a first down. Joseph gets the handoff. It does not. He will not make it. He stumbles to the 45 of Watertown, and it'll bring up 4th and pretty long. Let's see what the Marauders decide to do here on this.
Seems like they're thinking about it.
And they are down 20-6 here in the first quarter. Marauders are electing to go for it here. It's going to be 4th and 6. They're spotting the ball at Watertown's 46-yard line.
I'm not really sure I agree with this call. I think, you're down 20-6. You're moving the ball a little bit, but you don't want to give Watertown a number 21 good field position. If you don't make this, if you kick it and you pin them deep, your defense gets a chance to establish itself.
Yeah, and you have a good punter in Hampton Shroud. Here's Killian O'Connell. He is caught in the backfield
by Kamara.
That's Manoukian. David Manoukian, who also has a rushing touchdown in this game, came up from his linebacker position and tackled Killian for a loss. So the Marauders turn the ball over on downs with 1:53 to go in the first quarter.
See, now you're giving the ball to Watertown at their own 45-yard line. You got a short field. Relatively short field with 1:53 in the first quarter, and you can't allow them to score any more points. And I think if you kick it and you have a chance to pin them deep, you kick it out of bounds, you might get a bounce off of someone in this cold day, and I think that would have been the better play. But that's why I'm up here and not on the sidelines.
I'm kind of leaning in your direction on that call, Joe. It was a risky call. It's that whole risk-reward, and right now you've set up Watertown with some decent field position to start this drive. Here's Mcdermott. He will hand off. No, he's going to keep it himself. And he will end up in Belmont territory, close to a first down, gain of about 8 or 9 yards on the play. Well, that aggressive and energetic Marauder defense we've seen all year really, again, needs to step up here, Joe, and make some hard hits. Again, on a day like today, a hard hit's going to hurt that much more.
And this kid, the quarterback for Watertown, Mcdermott, he's carrying out these fakes very, well. I mean, the defense is going for the fake, and he's able to get around the corner and get 9 yards on 1st and 10. So they have to the defense has to hold their position. They have to stay put and spread the field and prevent them from getting the corner.
Well, it's also because Kamara is such a dangerous weapon that he can employ that fake. The Marauders have to respect that Kamara could get the ball. Second down, handoff up the middle. That was not Kamara carrying the ball. I think that might have been Manoukian again, number 22, and he's got a Watertown first down.
Yeah, this is the defense we have.
By the way, Watertown still hasn't converted on 3rd down in this game. They're 0 for 1. That was a 2nd down.
Yeah, and they got 20 points on the board.
Right.
And they haven't converted a 3rd down.
Correct.
So, but we'll see what the defense does here. It seemed like on this side, number 15 from Watertown and the defensive back from Belmont was had one-on-one coverage, so that might be something they're looking to set up on this play.
Yeah, that's Jared Edwards, one of the senior captains for the Marauders, defending number 15, Brett Sutherland of Watertown. It's 1st and 10 at the Belmont 42, and Mcdermott back to throw, and here they're looking downfield for Kamara, and it is incomplete coverage by Killian O'Connell. That was going to be a tough catch, but it looked like the way Kamara's been playing, it looked like he had a pretty good chance of pulling that one down.
It looked like Kamara had space. He had gotten by O'Connell, but O'Connell saw the ball, saw where the ball was, closed fast, and was able to break it up without committing pass interference. I think the quarterback just underthrew him just enough so O'Connell could get back and make a play on him.
We talk about Killian O'Connell and Rakai Joseph in terms of how well they run. They also form the last line of defense as they both play out of the safety spot. And that time, and they've really done a good job in coverage this year. Rakai Joseph known for his physical, rib-shattering tackles. I don't know how many ribs he's actually literally shattered, but I'm sure maybe it feels that way to some of the players he's hit. Here's Mcdermott over the into the flat looking for Kamara. The pass is incomplete. I guess that throw a little bit wide of the intended target, so it'll be second down.
A little bit low and wide. But Kamara was open. I mean, if he makes that play, the chances are he gets the first down there. This defense has to keep an eye on him, and this is a big 3rd and 10 here with 22 seconds to go in the first period. If they could stop him here and turn him over on downs, then the second quarter could get interesting.
For a team that's already scored 20 points, this is only Watertown's second 3rd down attempt of this game, 0 for 1. Not converting the first time as the Marauder defense held. This one a 3rd and 10 certainly seems to favor the defense. We'll see what the Marauders and Coach Q have dialed up on this play. as McDermott's under center, and he will take the handoff, and there's a tackle for loss, and that was Mike Delhomme, one of the 5 senior captains, who came up with a huge play there. Delhomme, who's been solid as a rock on defense all year, has kind of slowly made his way into the offensive game a little more as the season's progressed, but big play, and it brings up 4th down as looks like the first quarter has come to an end.
That was a huge play, Todd. Get there on 4th down. Now we'll see what Watertown's going to do at the end of the first quarter with Watertown ahead 20-6 on 3. I believe unintentional onside kicks that all 3 were recovered by the kicking team.
Yeah, it's just a crazy start to this one as Watertown also took a timeout at the end of the first quarter too. I'm not really, well actually because they put 10 seconds back on the clock. That's why. I was going to say, why would you take a timeout when the quarter's over? But the quarter's not over. They just reset that time. So there are still 10 seconds remaining. It is 4th down and 4th and 13. With the ball at the 45. Not really sure why Watertown would want to go for this being so long.
It looked like Kamara was lined up in a punt formation.
Okay. That'd be the sensible thing. Watertown is moving left to right as you're watching our live broadcast here on the Belmont Media Center channels. And not to mention he's got the wind at his back, so he could probably boom one if he can, just get a little air under it. And that would be you want to, again, game of field position right now. They've got the 20-6 lead in the closing seconds of this opening quarter. And it is Kamara back in the punt position. Okay,
Belmont's got to be aware of Kamara because it wouldn't be unusual for him to fake it here.
Oh,
because you're on the other side of the Belmont of the 50, and he with his ability he could pick this up.
Bit of a high snap, but Kamara pulls it down. It's a line drive kick, and it is fumbled by LaFosse. It's off his hands. LaFosse still having trouble holding on to it. It's finally downed, but all the way inside, I think, the 5-yard line. Marauders are going to start very deep in their own territory. Again, I know it's hard handling a ball on a day like today, but still.
I can't even. I don't think I have words. I mean, I've never seen anything like this.
I mean,
they can't catch a football.
Did they refrigerate the balls before putting them out into the game?
And I've seen them taking the balls and putting them in front of these torpedo heaters, but nothing's working. I mean, they just can't hang on to the football. I've never seen anything like it.
And that's the reason why your score after the first 11 minutes is Watertown 20 and Belmont 6. You're on the 97th edition of the Belmont-Watertown game. Happy Thanksgiving to you all. Welcome to our live broadcast. If you are watching us live here on Thanksgiving Day, if you wanted to get out of the cold, don't blame you there. I'm Todd Bloniarz along with Joe Habelow and our cameraman, producer, director of BHS Sports TV, Jeremy Meserve, all doing our best to stay warm here this morning. We still got 3 quarters of this game to get through, Joe.
And you know what, Todd? The good news is my feet now, I can't feel them. So
that's good news?
Yeah, that's good news because that means I can't get any colder. This is as cold as I can get. I think the next step is frostbite. You know what I mean?
I believe that's where it goes after this.
I think after that, that's where it goes.
Temperatures today, record-setting cold throughout eastern Massachusetts, really all of New England. Temperatures in the teens, but if you factor in the wind chill, it's pretty much right around 0, which makes this also the coldest game in the history of the rivalry. Thank you, Joe. 16 degrees the official temperature, but again, that doesn't even factor in the wind chill. Winds gusting up to 20 and 25 miles an hour here on this Thanksgiving morning. Marauders are going to start this drive 1st and 10 at their own 3-yard line as we begin the second quarter. Handoff to O'Connell, who tiptoes his way all the way up to the 10-yard line, trying to find a hole. Does a nice job, pickup of 7 for O'Connell, who, as we mentioned, is averaging over 5.5 yards a carry on the season.
Now, if they can put a decent drive together here and they can, pop some points in here in the second quarter, I mean, it's amazing that Belmont still has a chance to get it back into this football game the way it started.
They're only 2 scores down, and they have nothing better right now.
And they've shown they can move the ball.
Exactly. I mean, 97-yard drive takes up some time off the clock would be the perfect antidote right now for the Marauders to combat. And here's Rakai Joseph. He's got a first down. Rakai got hit head-on by Brennan Cook.
What a tough kid. That was a tough run. He moved the pile after that first hit.
We know how tough Rakai is. We've watched him from his free safety spot tackling on defense.
He didn't get down easy at all.
Joseph, also a senior. This will be his last high school football game. Ran for nearly 650 yards on the season coming into the game. And earlier today scored his 10th rushing touchdown. He has 12 total touchdowns. You might remember a couple of those little short screen passes.
Yep.
They count as passes, but in essence, he's really running most of the way on those. Here's O'Connell on first down. He spins and he's in the open field. First down and more. Up to the 42-yard line. Great running by the Marauders on this drive.
This is exactly what they needed. You start the drive at your own 3-yard line because of another fumbled punt, but now on 2 or 3 plays, you're out close to the 50-yard line at the 41, and they continue to move the ball.
Wind gusting so strong that a cardboard box over the Belmont sideline just blew out onto the...
The good news, Todd, is it's 16 degrees now, but it is going to warm up. The high temperature today will be 19. So... It is warming up.
Yeah, but we're going to be long gone by the time it gets to those balmy temperatures.
It is warming up. I might have to put shorts on for the second half.
Belmont just inside their own 41. First and 10, handoff O'Connell. O'Connell again in the open field. He's into Watertown territory. Kamara will knock him out of bounds inside the Watertown 35-yard line.
That was a great run by O'Connell, and you can see what he's done all year. I think you said he's run for over 700 yards this year. And on this drive alone, he's got to have 30 or 40 yards.
Oh, at least, yeah. I mean, he's had all but one carry on this drive. This is exactly what the Marauders needed at this point in the game, trying to get themselves back into it as they trail 20-6. Clock ticking under 9 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Handoff as O'Connell gets a breather. They give it to, I think that's Chad. No, check that. It's Chad Francis, 33. Again, it'll be Chad Francis and likely Cedric Toussaint competing for the running back carries next year. And they've gotten a little bit of action this season whenever Killian O'Connell and Verkai Joseph need a little bit of a breather. O'Connell checking back in now for Joseph. It'll be second and 10, no gain by
Has Belmont attempted a pass play yet? I don't think they have they?
No, they have not.
And they have the wind at their back on this side of the field. So
sometimes they say it's easier when the wind's in your face to try to pass the ball because the ball can kind of fly on passes when the wind's at your back. O'Connell will get the carry on second down. He'll pick up close to his season average per carry. He'll bring up a third and about 5.
And I think it's safe to say that we're in 4-down territory here.
I would say so, yeah, now that they're inside the Watertown 30, for sure. So, again, it is Joseph, the deep back in the eye. He'll get the handoff from Arno, and Joseph is going to be close, but I think a little bit short of the first down. He tried to get to the 25 and got pushed back. He actually had to get to the 24 to get the first.
We need a hometown spot here.
Yeah, but it would be a really generous one. And the Marauders are not getting it. It's going to be 4th and 2. Ball's at the 26, maybe less than 2. Might be a short 2, but it's definitely 4th down, and I think definitely the Marauders are going to go for this.
Oh, yeah, you have to go for it here.
Down 14 with under 7 minutes to go in the first half, especially the way they're running the ball right now.
Yeah. They've had success running the football today.
Except they go with 4 wideouts. Interestingly enough, no Joseph or O'Connell in the backfield. Ryan Santoro, the fullback, is the lone back with Arno. Arno's going to call his own number, quarterback draw. Big hole. Arno breaks the tackle. Avery Arno will score Marauder touchdown.
Never saw that one coming, Todd.
That's called going deep into the playbook. Alex Avery, the offensive coordinator, took over this season, calling the offensive plays on 4th and 2, and Arno keeps it himself. Great blocking by the offensive line. Point out some of the guys on that line. It starts with Jake Parsons, Bam Bam on left tackle, their big left tackle, along with guys like Ryan Hoffman and Sam Sagarian and Connor Shea and Narek Stepanian. Big hole there for Arno to run through.
And Arno showed how tough he was because he had to break the last tackle. The guy had him wrapped up to break that tackle to get into the end zone.
I don't know if there's anyone happier here at Harris Field about that last play than Avery's father, John Arno, an ardent Marauder fan who comes to all the games. As Trout kicks the extra point up and through, John Arno right in front of us here in the bleachers in his wonderfully orange jumpsuit. Oh, if it happens to get dark today, he will not get lost.
I think he's going turkey hunting afterwards.
He looks like it.
I think he might be.
Well, there were no turkeys on that play from the Marauders' standpoint, as Arno broke that tackle and ran 26 yards for a touchdown. It is now Watertown 20 and Belmont 13 with 6:31 to go here in the first half.
And it seems like Belmont has settled in now. The offense is moving the ball. The defense has had a couple of big stops on Watertown and made them punt. So you got to keep doing this. You got to get the ball back. You got to put some more points up on the board. And you know the momentum of this game, you can feel it changing a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see what they do on this kickoff.
Well, you know, a little over 2 minutes into the game, it was 20-0. So the Marauders definitely have responded here. 13 unanswered points, and Trout to kick off from his 40 with the wind at his back. He should be able to boom this one.
And you know, I think, Todd, that's a testament to the coaching staff, because it would have been easy to look at that 20-0, 2 minutes gone in the first period, and you think, oh no, here we go again. But they kept fighting. They figured out how to catch the football and to hang on to it on kickoffs, and they were able to get themselves right back in this game.
Well, you know, Coach Q calling that timeout when he did too after that the third fumble. I mean, you know, whatever was said at that point, I mean, he probably just told all these guys, take a deep breath. I know oxygen's a little limited today because it's so cold, but take a deep breath nonetheless. And right now we can see DeJuan Moore holding this down for Trout, who, the Marauders tried the same play! The Marauders might have recovered! Taking one right out of Coach John Kakachi's playbook!
No way.
Scott Giusti dials it up, and the Marauders have recovered!
I've never in my entire life, that's 4 fumbles on kickoffs that have been recovered by the kicking team.
All going in the same direction, all kicking with the wind at their back. I got to tell you something, Joe. Scott Giusti might have saw something. Hampton Trout might have saw something. I think originally he was going to kick that deep, but I think he looked at some of the up men for Watertown who didn't look like they were that interested or that involved or engaged in the play. And so Trout said, hey, it worked for Kamara. Let me try the same thing, and he just drilled it.
I'm not sure, and of these 4 kickoffs that have all been recovered by the kicking team, I'm not sure anyone was actually a planned onside kick, because we saw a couple that were pooped, that were popped up, that were fumbled, and now this one.
I think this one could have easily been an audible, because it sure looked like at the end it was almost like just a last-minute switch-it-up call. Here's O'Connell on 1st and 10, and he'll get a gain of about 5, close to the Watertown 40-yard line. But again, Joe, I mean, it looked like they were originally set to kick deep, especially Trout. We all know what a great leg he's got. The wind's at his back. Why not just pin them back? But I think they looked at some of the up men. Scott Giusti probably noticed it for Watertown, and Trout noticed it. They relayed it out there, and at the very last minute, because the Watertown player up front had his back turned. It hit him in the back.
And it all goes back to your up men. Do they have the hands?
You need them today for sure.
I've never seen a football game like this in the first half.
Rakai Joseph breaking a tackle. He's in the open field. Here we go. To the 25, and he breaking more tackles. Rakai Joseph is hard to bring down. He is inside the Watertown 20-yard line for a Marauder first down.
This is unbelievable. You talk about 2 different games, 2 different periods, 2 different quarters. I mean, Belmont was all but dead, with 2 minutes to go, 2 minutes gone in the first period. Down 20-0. Now they're in the position to tie this football game before the half.
Like you said, Joe, all they had to do was recover a kick quickly.
That's all they had to do.
Right back in the game as soon as they did. Rakai Joseph was the one who actually recovered that kickoff, too. I say recovered. I say that loosely. Here's Killian O'Connell spinning off a tackle. Poor tackling by Watertown here, and O'Connell is able to get something out of nothing. A gain of, looks like about 4 yards.
Yeah, that was a great run by O'Connell. Looked like it was stuffed. Watertown had it stuffed up the middle, but he was able to break a couple of tackles and get to the corner and get 4 or 5 yards on that play.
That's at least the second or third time we've seen O'Connell spin around and through a tackle. We've seen Rakai Joseph, just kind of barreling through tackles.
They got some tough runners on this team, on both sides, on both teams. They got some kids who don't go down easy and will move that pile.
O'Connell's the deep back, and before you ask me, Joe, no, Avery Arno is still yet to attempt a pass. It's been run, run, run. Why not? This time a little collision with O'Connell, but there is some room for O'Connell to run, and O'Connell will run into the end zone for a Marauder touchdown.
So with 2 minutes gone in the first period, it was 20-0. With 4 minutes and 17 seconds to go in the second period, Belmont is within an extra point of tying this football game.
They certainly are. Killian O'Connell with a 10-yard touchdown run. Check that, a 20-yard run. I'll actually put it in the books as 17 yards. That was the line of scrimmage there. Great piece of running by O'Connell.
This is just, I can't.
And that play started with kind of Arno and O'Connell kind of bumping into each other there. It looked like sort of but all of a sudden, once O'Connell got to the left side, there was nobody there. There was a huge hole, and he outran everybody. Trout's extra point is up and good, and with 4:17 to go in the first half, we start over again, tied at 20. Did we think 2 minutes into the game, Joe, we were going to see this point?
Todd, I was trying to figure out ways to get out of here and go home because Belmont was going to get smoked. But now I'm stuck for the rest of the game. 20-20 with 4:17 to go in the first half. It's just simply amazing. I mean, this is just, I've never seen anything like, of all the years watching football, and I can't specify this enough, I've never seen a game start like this, or the way this first half is going, with all the fumbles, with all the kickoffs, with all the turnovers, and now we have a tie game.
Joe, the only thing getting smoked today is the turkey.
Yeah, exactly.
These two teams are going tooth and nail now, and we are tied at 20 with still 4:17 to go here in the first half, and Trout to kick off again. I'm sure John Kakachi has told his guys as the ball blows off the tee, I think we're going to need Dewan Moore to hold that one more time. But I think at this point, I'm watching all the Watertown players, the up men here, and they are all looking straight ahead.
Yeah, they're paying attention now.
Yeah, Coach Kakachi told them, make sure you are watching this.
I mean, why not try it again? I mean, just kick it in the ground and see what happens, because, I mean, it's worked.
It's worked 4 times today.
4 times in the first half.
Everybody kicking left to right. It's been a huge success here. Let's see what Trout does this time. Nope, it's going to be sort of an in-between, kind of a pooch kick.
And another fumble.
Well, it went through his hands. It gets taken by Sutherland, one of the deep men. He'll be driven back to the 23-yard line. That's where Watertown will start this drive with 4:09 left.
And I think the last 3 or 4 times Watertown's had the ball, the Belmont defense has really risen to the occasion. They've made the stops when they had to. They didn't give Watertown a choice on 4th down, where it's 4th and short or anything. A couple of sacks by this defensive line, and the defense seems like they're playing good now.
Those of you who know your Belmont history and the history of this rivalry, you might remember the name John Dillon. Dillon scored 2 touchdowns for the Marauders back in 2011, coming off of an injury-plagued season, but he was ready to go on Thanksgiving Day. The last time the Marauders defeated the Watertown Raiders, that was at Victory Field in 2011.
And if I'm not mistaken, Todd, that was only the 2nd game John Dillon played in that year.
And he scored 2 touchdowns in the game in a 19-14 win. He was the difference in that game.
I remember that game well. I think it was over. Was that in Watertown? Yes, that was in Watertown.
Actually, it was the first year of the newly christened. They had just put the field turf in at Victory Field, and not the kind of christening that they were hoping for that day. Of course, the turf here at Harrisfield's been in place now for several years. The press box now in its 2nd year.
And they just replaced this field again. When was it? Last summer?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
They so this is the 2nd edition of the turf.
Yes.
It holds up great. Yes, this isn't even the same version of the turf we saw 4 years ago when it was covered in snow for Thanksgiving Day. Here is Mcdermott on a 2nd down, and Mcdermott will be close to the 1st down marker and then get pushed back by a maroon swarm.
Yeah, I think Watertown now is just trying to establish a running game. You know, they have a great running back in Camara, and Mcdermott has shown that he's pretty good at carrying the ball also, and I think they're just trying to get some points at the end of the first half, or just eat up as much time as they can, because as shell-shocked as Belmont was in the first 2 minutes, I think Watertown is that right now, because they just gave up 20 points, you know, in less than a quarter. For this game to be tied.
Yeah, 20 unanswered points now for the Marauders, tying up this ball game. Of course, the Watertown Raiders have been playing this entire game under Canadian Football League rules, getting basically, because they're 0 for 2 on 3rd down in this game. But that was a second down conversion there. And here's the handoff to, no, McDermott's going to keep it himself. He faked it to Manukian, and he picks up about 8 yards, does the senior tri-captain and Watertown quarterback Nick McDermott.
Yeah, he seems like he's quite capable of carrying the ball. It seems like I haven't seen them going to Camara a lot. I don't know if they're trying to set him up for something. I know in a couple of pass plays he scored 1 touchdown when he was wide open, and another one where the ball was a little bit underthrown, and O'Connell was able to break it up. But you still have to pay attention to 21.
Well, exactly, and the Marauders' defense has to respect him, which I think then allows other guys to create space and find openings to burst through, as McDermott did on that first down carry. 2nd and 3, and they'll hand off to Manukian again, and this time Manukian is brought down by senior captain Sam Sagarian. Dingasorian, as he's known by his teammates, and Segs as well, and got to meet him along with the other 4 senior captains for our annual Turkey Day interview with the captains. Really good kid, actually someone who started out as a big defensive player, but this year has really enjoyed playing offensive line as well. And also a starter on the rugby team, which really comes in handy, I think, when you're trying to tackle, especially.
Exactly. So I think Watertown's just trying to get out of this half. I don't think.
No, they're trying to see if they can convert him. It's 3rd and short. McDermott turning the corner, and he looks like he's going to be short. He was tackled just short of the marker.
Timeout.
Clock is still running. We're down almost close to a minute to go here in the first half. It's going to be 4th down and less than a yard. So once again, Watertown is now 0 for 3 converting on 3rd down in this game.
I wouldn't be surprised if they fake the run up the middle now and try to go deep with a pass play. I know the wind, he's throwing into the wind now, but the few passes they've had, the receivers have been pretty wide open.
Well, and again, sometimes it's easier to throw into the wind because you can throw the ball hard and it'll just cut through the wind.
Right.
And you can float it up there. Certainly keep an eye on Munge Kamara on this play, number 21 for Watertown. And you can see him right now. He is looks like he's going to line up in the well. They're lining up with a tight formation, and he's lined up to the outside. 4th down and 1, and the Marauders jump offside, and the flags fly, and it looks like Watertown is going to get an automatic first here. Although the clock is now down to 14 seconds, so even with a first down here, I'm not really sure. I'm not sure why Coach Kakachi let the clock run.
I think Coach Kakachi from Watertown, I think he just wants to get out of here. He wants to regroup. He wants to get out of here at the half without giving the ball back to Belmont. The Belmont offense seems like they have it in gear right now. Watertown hasn't been able to stop them the last 3 or 4 times they've had the ball. I think he just wants to get out of here without giving up more points. But then again, 14 seconds, he's got time to take a couple of shots. I think this is the last play.
Well, the clock's still running. They restarted the clock. This will be the last play. Ball's on the Belmont side of the 50-yard line.
He may not get it off.
Nope. Well, let's see. Kamara's got it. I think the Marauders would be wise to make a tackle here just in case this play counts. The ball pops loose. It looks like there's a scramble for the ball. Not going to matter. There's zeros on the clock here. Really isn't going to matter unless you want to just record your turnover stats. It will count. It looks like they're saying Watertown recovered it anyway. Again, it's a moot point because we have reached halftime here in the 97th edition of Belmont and Watertown, and 2 teams that came into the game with even records.
Wait a minute. They reset the clock. Belmont recovered the fumble.
No, they're calling halftime, I think. Yeah. So 2 teams that had even identical 4 and 6 records coming into this game couldn't have played a more even first half when you look at the score, 20-20. Although, Joe, that hardly tells the entire story of this crazy first half.
The first 2 minutes of this half, Todd, in the first period, is like nothing you and I have talked about, like nothing we've ever seen. 3 kickoffs by Watertown. 3 times they recovered the fumble kickoff. 3 times they scored. Less than 2.5 minutes into the first quarter, it's 20-0 Watertown, and you're thinking, what is going to happen now? But Belmont
I was starting to think it looks like 7 in a row.
Oh my gosh! It's like
the series.
They finally get it together. They make some stuff. Belmont gets the offensive going, and we're going into halftime, and it's 20-20, which neither one of us thought would happen at this point in the game.
Yeah, 3 rushing touchdowns for the Marauders. Avery Arno, well, in order. As Don here pointed out to us from Belmont football days of yore.
Donnie Shafaro was a legend in Belmont.
Okay.
He's a legend in Belmont. You kidding me?
Well, he pointed out something else about this game that's been rather kind of odd statistically. There haven't been any. Well, no, we had the one.
We had the one offsides at the end of the half.
Well, what about that onside kick that they re-kicked? What was the purpose for that?
I don't even know what that was.
You're right. They didn't throw a flag.
Yeah, I didn't understand that call at all. One penalty with, 10 seconds to go in the first half when Belmont jumped offside.
Oh, right, yeah, that was it, yeah. Giving Watertown that last play to end the half. And Watertown will get the first play on offense, we presume, to start the second half. They're at least going to go back and try to receive this kickoff.
That's been the biggest problem in today's game, Todd, is receiving a kickoff.
Well, not in this direction, though. The Marauders are going to be kicking off from right to left to start this third quarter, which actually is, again, kicking off from left to right. 4 times we've seen the receiving team fumble or have problems with it, and, of course, unfortunately, 3 of those times it was Belmont.
Good news for our listening audience is I can now feel my toes after sitting in the press box at halftime.
Well, we're glad for that, Joe Habelow. That is Joe Habelow. I'm Todd Bloniarz. Hampton Trout will squib this one down the field. It'll be taken by one of the up men. It looks like number 18, Kareem Monroe, and he will down it at about his 30, and that's where Watertown will start the second half in this 20-20 tie. It's been a game of momentum, and Watertown 2.5 minutes in, it scored the game's first 20 points thanks to 3 allegedly planned, not planned onside kicks, and turned them into easy touchdowns. 2 of them scored by Mungay Kamara, one of their senior captains, and David Manukian scoring the 3rd, but the Marauders slowly chipped away, and rushing touchdowns from Rakai Joseph, Avery Arno, and Killian O'Connell have tied up this game as we get ready to start quarter number 3.
And you know, Todd, to end that, late in the first quarter, all through the second quarter, the Belmont defense started to find themselves. They started to make stops. They started to get pressure on the quarterback, on Mcdermott, and they were able to contain the Watertown offense that we know can be very explosive with Mungay in the backfield.
Right now it's a spread backfield with Manukian, the lone setback behind quarterback Nick Mcdermott. This is his final high school game. Quarterbacking for Watertown, and the handoff will go to Manobi. He's going to keep it himself again. It was a fake to Manuki, an open field, and into Belmont territory goes Nick Mcdermott. Joe, you pointed it out early on in this game. Mcdermott has been very effective on this, I don't even know if I'd call it a run-pass option, but just sort of the faking, his play action.
He fakes it into the middle of the line, and then the defense bites down, the defensive end, and the linemen bite down
on the running back.
On the fake. And he just turns around, gets the coin, and he runs for 20-something yards on that play.
Ball is spotted at the Belmont 39. We'll give it.
And who's that kid waving the flag down there on the sideline?
Yeah, who is that kid? Beautiful boy down there?
That is someone known as Eric Habelow, our son, who has been part of this Belmont program for 13 years now. It's been amazing.
And he's doing a great job holding the Marauder flag with a lot of pride today, and deservedly so, how the Marauders have fought back in this game from a 20-0 deficit to draw even here in the third quarter. Mcdermott is he was back to throw. He's going to keep it himself. He'll go to the far side, get a gain of maybe 2 or 3 yards. He's knocked out of bounds over there. Sam Sagarian amongst the tacklers, along with Sam Harris, number 8, another valuable player, one of those 22 seniors who's made a lot of key contributions defensively this year.
Yeah, and this is a big play here. 2nd and 6. They hold them, on 3rd down, 2nd down, 3rd down, and then see what Watertown does. You're probably, for Watertown, depending on the distance to go, you're probably in 4-down territory, because I don't think you're going to try any field goals in this part of the field with this type of wind.
It's going to be 2nd down and 7. Again, kind of another odd stat. I believe Watertown is still 0 for 3 on 3rd downs in this game. They have not converted a 3rd down, yet they've managed to score 20 points. There's a defensive tackle again. It's Segs. Sam Sagarian making the tackle for loss. He's had a couple of those in this game.
That was a great play by Sagarian to get Mcdermott before he could turn the corner, because it looked like he was keeping the ball again and was heading down the sideline. And now you got 3rd down and 7. You stop them here, you're in 4 down. They're in 4 down territory. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out right now.
It was so funny talking with Sagarian on our Thanksgiving preview special. He mentioned how much he really has enjoyed playing more offense this year as opposed to defense, but he's having a really big game defensively here this morning at Harris Field in the 97th version of the Belmont Watertown game. 3rd down, and the ball is caught. I'm going to say that might be Kamara.
No, that was number 15.
That would be Brett Sutherland, and he picks up Watertown's first down on a 3rd down conversion in this game. It comes with 8:13 to go in the 3rd quarter.
See, now you're seeing the whole Watertown offense. They come out in the 1st quarter and the 3rd quarter in the first possession, and they're moving the ball down the field. And I don't think number 21, I don't think Kamara's touched the ball in this drive.
No, he hasn't. Well, we know McDermott's a good quarterback because last year he set a school record for passing yards, almost 2,000 yards passing. The only reason he hasn't probably passed for as many this year is just, they lost a lot of really talented skill seniors,
right.
And, they're just not as good a group this year, so the numbers have gone down. Derek Brown coming up big with another tackle for loss. He brings down McDermott before he can go anywhere.
That was a big play. You saw the play developing. It looked like another run-pass option. He was rolling out towards us, to our right, and but number 77 got in there to stop the play before it could develop.
Well, remember Derek Brown, a junior. Remember early in the year we saw him playing offensive line and defense, and then all of a sudden Coach Q decided to try some other folks on the O-line, and it kind of freed up Brown to be more rested on defense, and his defensive play has stepped up.
He's been a beast on defense all year long. He's been very consistent. He's always getting in the backfield of the offensive team.
It is 2nd and we'll call it 15. McDermott under center. The lone setback is David Manukian. And it'll go instead to Monroe. Kareem Monroe will turn upfield. Sagarian with the tackle. Back to close to the original line of scrimmage, going to bring up 3rd and about 11.
And Todd, I'm surprised. As cold as it is out here, there's some die-hard fans here, and not everybody here is here to see their kids play. They're here to see this football game and be part of this rivalry. So I'm impressed with the crowd on both sides of the field here at Harris Field.
The crowd did slowly make their way in here. I think they tried to get here as late as they possibly could to minimize the frost exposure. Yeah. Unfortunately, the cold temperatures have kept the Belmont Marching Band from being here, which would add another layer to the fun of this game. There's a little pass out in the flat to Manukian. Manukian in the open field, but he's going to barely get back to the line of scrimmage. And that will be it. He'll be gang tackled there.
That was a great defensive play by Belmont. That screen play looked like it was setting up good, but they came back and they covered that play to virtually no gain on that. So now you got 4th down. And
you're in that part of the field.
9 or 10 yards to go.
You're in that part of the field right now. The ball's at the 28-yard line of Belmont. A field goal attempt, if you wanted to try one here, would be 45 yards. Watertown's gone through several kickers this season, where we're seeing Kamara do most of the kicking today. I don't know, even with the wind at his back, that he'd want to try one that long, although as I look up at the flagpole, the wind now seems to be swirling a little more than it did in the first time.
Yeah, but I think kicking a field goal from here with these high school kids, you're like kicking a brick.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter about the wind. It's just cold, and the ball does funny things, and you block it, or if he misses it and they pick it up and return it. I think this is a safer play here than trying to kick a field goal from this far out.
It's going to be 4th and 9. Looks like Watertown would have to get to the 17 of Belmont to pick up a 1st down. Timeout. We have a timeout on the field. I'm assuming it's John Kakachi taking that timeout, I would think. In fact, no, the official's a little confused. No, it's a Belmont 30-second timeout. You talk about the two coaches in this rivalry, Joe. John Kakachi's in his 12th season. The first 5 years he coached this game, he was coming up on the short end of the score. The last 6 years he's been a winner. Coach Jan Kuman in his 5th year still trying to taste victory for the first time in the Belmont-Watertown rivalry, which I know Coach Q said back in year 1 has been a goal every year. They have 3 big goals. This year they finally accomplished one of those goals. They made the playoffs for the first time. But they still haven't beaten Watertown in the Coach Q era. Now, what happened there?
Great defense. Another fumble, Todd.
Yeah, so that's
And I don't think that play was going any place anyway. It looked like they had that, I'm not sure what they called, but it looked like they had that place stuffed in the middle of the field.
I think there was just a missed exchange between the center and the quarterback Mcdermott. I don't think because it looked like they just the play ended up devolving into a scrum right at the line of scrimmage. So I don't even think anyone ever really touched the ball to take a handoff, whether Mcdermott was going to call his own number or somebody else. Regardless, the Marauders take over. It's 1st and 10 at their own, they're going to spot it at the 28-yard line.
And the amazing thing is the Belmont offense had to get going in the second quarter. They scored 20 unanswered after Watertown scored the first 20, and now they got the ball with a chance to take the lead on this drive, which is amazing, which we would never have said 2 minutes into the game.
Here is Arno, and he's handing off to Chad Francis, I believe, on first down. And it is Chad Francis, the sophomore running back, gets the handoff. Not Killian O'Connell, not Rakai Joseph. Kind of an interesting choice. Francis, we mentioned, only came into this game having had 2 rushes on the season, and I think that's at least his 3rd carry in this game. So obviously the coaching staff likes what they've seen from Francis, and of course he is part of their future. You'll be vying for that top running back spot next season for the Marauders. Meanwhile, Killian O'Connell now does check in with Ryan Santero, the fullback, in the I formation, 3 wideouts. Handoff to O'Connell on 2nd down, and again he breaks out of a foothold tackle. He'll drag Watertown tacklers for a first down up to the 44-yard line. Killian O'Connell, 300-yard rushing games this year, the team's leading rusher. I think he's been their leading rusher today as well, with probably close to 100 yards at this point.
He is just he's so low to the ground, he is so tough. Like, they had him stopped. They had him stopped before he got to the first down marker. But those legs kept churning. He kept moving. He moved the pile and was able to get the first down. A huge first down right there for Belmont.
To work off his nickname, he's been killing it today, running the ball.
Okay.
When we were talking nicknames during when we talked when I talked to the senior captains, and of course he goes by Kills. You know, there's not really a lot of variation off the Killian nickname. I guess that's pretty easy. And meanwhile, he's killing it again on 1st and 10, and he took what looked like maybe a very short gain, and maybe got close to 3 yards out of it.
They're getting 3-4 yards a pop. He's getting hit at the line of scrimmage, but he's not stopping. He's moving his legs. He keeps the pile going, and he puts Belmont in a second and manageable position.
The Marauders' running attack this year, we mentioned coming into the game, close to 1,700 yards rushing as a team, and yards per carry. How about this stat? Averaging almost 6 yards a carry by all of the running backs. That even includes quarterback Avery Arno, who himself coming into today had 39 rushing attempts. Arno has a rushing touchdown.
I think they're close to that average today.
Here's Rakai. Boy, I'll tell you, Rakai Joseph is just determined. Every time you see him touch the ball, looks like either whether it's he or O'Connell, looks like they're going to break a tackle. And once they do, you know they're gone.
They're just running people over, breaking tackles. I don't think either one of these backs, Rakai Joseph or Killian O'Connell, I don't think either one of them has gone down today at the first hit.
Yeah, what impresses me most about these guys, that we've been talking all year, how quick they are, how fast they are in the open field. They're just hard to catch. But the thing is, too, their toughness, too. You see in the way they're breaking tackles. They're just determined to get into the open field, even when the open field isn't there.
Yep, exactly. They're fighting all the way to the end.
This time it looks like an empty backfield for Arno, who will call the quarterback draw. By the way, again, statistical oddity, you said it early on, Arno still hasn't gone back to pass in this game.
Yep.
And at this point, I'm not sure they're going to. Why would they?
Running game's working, and you usually use the running game to set up the passing game. But the way these kids are running the ball today, I mean, they're moving right down the field at the 38-yard line of Watertown, and why would you do anything else? It's working so far.
What's kind of a shame for the junior quarterback Avery Arno in his first year as a varsity starting quarterback, he's only 69 yards shy of 1,000 yards passing for the season. Wow. I have a feeling the way this game's going, he's not going to get there today.
Yeah,
but again,
surprised.
They're going with their bread and butter that we've seen all year, such a strong ground game, and it has worked, and it's brought them back in this game even when they were down by 20. Here's Killian O'Connell turning the corner, and he's dragged down. That time a nice tackle made over there by, of course, Mungay Kamara.
Yeah, and it was a good tackle. He got him on the corner, but he didn't get down easy. He fought for the extra couple of yards, and he had to end up pushing him out of bounds to get him down.
It is good for a Marauder first down, though. 1st and 10 at the Watertown 25. Clock continues to run. We're closing in on 90 seconds left here in the third quarter. The first scoreless quarter we have had here this afternoon.
And, you know, this is the type of game we thought we were going to get at the beginning of the game, a few possessions a quarter, and whoever hangs on to the ball is going to, you know, end up winning the game. And now you see this is what's happening here in the second half.
O'Connell with about 6 yards on that carry, again right close to his average yards per carry on the season. He'll check out. Rakai Joseph will, well, actually it looks like Chad Francis is going to check back in. Interesting, we have not seen Rakai Joseph on this drive.
But he had one run. He was in for one play.
Oh, right, he was. I'm sorry.
He's the one I think that Kamara tackled.
Yeah, but now, instead of Joseph coming in for O'Connell, it's instead the sophomore Chad Francis again. So maybe Rakai's a little banged up here. Yeah, the up back, that would be Mitchell Pereira, who splits time with Ryan Santoro at the fullback. Here's Francis. Francis is in the open field. He does have the corner. He's got the
Could that be a flag? Should have been.
Yeah, you got a first down, though, I believe.
Horse collar out of bounds.
He's inside the 10. That'll be good for a Marauder first down and goal to go. They'll spot the ball at the 6-yard line of Watertown.
The Marauders couldn't ask for a better start of the second half. The defense stops Watertown deep in Belmont territory. The offense takes over and just methodically goes down the field with this running game. And now it's 1st and goal at the 6-yard line.
Again, it is Mitchell Pereira, the up back in the eye. The deep back is Francis. Arnold's going to call it himself. He turns, tries to break a couple tackles. He's close to the goal line. And they will say he is down. Again, Kamara was one of the Raiders in on the tackle.
I don't think you could get any closer to the goal line than Avriano did on that play without actually scoring a touchdown.
I think you're right, Joe. Again, the official was right there to see if the ball broke the plane of the goal line.
It's going to be the end of the third period.
Yeah, a very fast-moving third quarter after a swiftly moving halftime, which they kind of had the clock running for that too. So we're getting ready for the final 11 minutes in the 97th edition of Belmont versus Watertown. The Marauders try to snap a 6-game losing streak in the series, and right now they have come back down 20-0 after 2.5 minutes. They've tied this game at 20 as we make the turn for home here. And again, Joe, this is all you can really ask for on Thanksgiving Day. 2 great rivals, a series that dates all the way back to 1921.
Do you remember being here for the first
no,
game?
I do not, amazingly enough. Do you?
Okay. I was 12 in 1921.
Oh, okay, all right.
I was here for that one.
All right. Yes, but you know what? This still will be a record-setting day in terms of temperature. This is the coldest game ever in the history of this rivalry, because I think any low temperatures we're approaching today, or high temperatures, I should say, we're approaching, are matching records set that were set back in the 1800s, not even the 1900s. You got to go back over 100 years.
Well, the good news, Todd, from the last time we checked the weather, the temperature has gone up 1 degree. It is now 17.
You don't get a wind. There's no wind chill on that, though.
No,
okay, I want to say the feels like. They call it the feels like temperature.
Feels like 0.
There you go.
Feels like 0. You know what? It feels like it's lower than 0.
You know, speaking of zeros, you go back in the history of the previous 96 games of this series, and you've got 30 times one of these schools has shut out the other. Watertown has 16 shutouts of Belmont, their last one coming in 1985. The Marauders last shut out Watertown of their 14 shutouts they've had all time. The last one was 20 years ago, this year, 1998, a 29-0 win for the Marauders here at Harris Field. There will not be a shutout for either side today, but there will be
no call on the field.
Touchdown! There it is. Who got that touchdown? Was that Rakai Joseph?
That was Avriano. I believe he kept it on a quarterback sneak.
Yeah, Arno kept it himself. That's his second rushing touchdown of the game.
Todd,
by the way, only his third rushing. He only had 1 rushing touchdown all season coming in today. He's got two.
10:55 to go in this game. Words I never thought I'd say. Belmont leading 26-20. It's been unbelievable the way this game has gone.
Arno now to hold for Hampton Trout's extra point attempt. Trout looking to make his 3rd extra point of the game, and that will be blocked. And it can be run back. It was recovered by Watertown, and the Marauders make sure to tackle and in fact they're going to call an unnecessary roughness, I think, on the Marauders there for that hit. That's a borderline call. I mean, I understand it's high school, but boy, it just doesn't feel like you. I mean, was that really that harsh of a tackle? I mean, maybe it was someone might have piled on at the end. Maybe that's what the penalty's for.
That'll be tacked on at the kickoff.
That could end up being a big miss. We'll have to wait and see. It's Marauders do have the lead, but it is only 6 points, 26-20 with 10:55 to go.
The ball now is in the hands of the defense. This Belmont defense, after they were shell-shocked in the first 2 minutes of this game, have turned it around, have held Watertown scoreless since almost the 9-minute mark of the first period, because they scored their 20 points in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, a little over 2 minutes.
And they've held them scoreless. They've kept Kamara in check. And whenever Watertown got deep and it looked like they might be getting ready to score, the defense has stood up, sacked Mcdermott a couple times, couple stops behind the line of scrimmage. And so this defense has to continue to play like this.
This is a Marauder team in the coach Jan Koeman era that has really kind of broken all sorts of barriers this year. The first one was breaking through, making the MIAA playoffs for the first time, which they did this season. If they win this game, it'll be the first win over Watertown since Coach Q has taken over. And also the 5 wins. If the Marauders can win their 5th game of the season today, that would also be their most wins in the Coach Q era. These seniors have never had a 5-win season. Coach Q coming into this game with a 17-37 record, 3-8, 4-7, 4-7. Last year 2-9, and this year coming in at 4-6, and trying to again just add that, get that win against Watertown. Get, a goal that has been in the works for 5 years, and they're still waiting for it. But this is a team that is one of the things we've mentioned all year about them, and it's really been on display here on this Thanksgiving Day, Joe. Their resiliency, again, kind of just taking that deep breath after falling behind 20-0 so quickly in this game. And
here we go, Todd, this kickoff, and this is the direction that all these fumbles have occurred when they've been kicking this way.
Keep in mind, because of the 15-yard penalty, the Marauders are kicking this from their own 25, not their 40.
Watertown should get decent field position.
And so as a result, Trout will kick it deep, which was probably the smart thing given the penalty. Here's Kamara with it. Kamara looking to get into the open field, still looking, and he'll be tackled.
Good coverage.
He's tackled at the 35. Joe, I wonder if it wasn't for the penalty, would they have maybe tried to do something different?
Yeah,
I
think they might have, and I think the kicker just saw that, we just got to get it deep. They got it deep. Their big running back got it, Kamara. The coverage was great. So now you thought maybe Watertown might get the ball in better field position, but they stop him at the 35-yard line. Now the defense has to do their job again. They've been playing great since that 20-0 lead by Watertown.
Well, really, you could argue they're playing great the whole. Okay, yes, there was a couple plays there that the defense kind of broke down, but a lot of those plays were, all those drives were started because of the onside kick. The special teams kind of put the team in the hole. And here is a handoff to, that might be Manoukian again. He got next to nothing. Maybe, they're going to give him 2 yards to the 38.
I don't know if it's me or what, but it seems like as great as this kid Kamara is, and he is great, we've seen it, kicking the ball, receiving the ball, running the ball. It seems like the running game hasn't been focused around him. You know what I mean? Mcdermott's carried the ball a lot.
Well, remember with Kamara, he's been dealing with a high ankle sprain most of the season, so he hasn't really been like their bell cow back the whole year. He's been kind of in and out of their lineup. He did bounce back in their last game against Newburyport to run for 254 yards. But other than that, I mean, that was probably far and away his biggest game of the season.
I don't know if it's because the Belmont defense is focusing on him and has someone shadowing him or what, but it seems like he should be involved more.
Would agree, and in fact, he maybe will be here down the stretch. It's just as it's actually a pass in the flat by Mcdermott to number 18, Kareem Monroe, and he'll get a Watertown first down, I believe, or very close to it.
No, it looks like he's a yard short.
Ball is spotted at Watertown's just inside their 45. And they will, he got out of bounds, so the clock has stopped momentarily with 9:43 to go.
A big third down play here for the Belmont defense.
Watertown is, I believe, again, anecdotally speaking, I think 1 for 4 on third down attempts here today. Manoukian will get this one, however. as he gets all the way up close to midfield. He'll be driven back, but forward progress will give the Watertown Raiders a first down. Get all the emotion of this Thanksgiving Day game, the final game for these 22 seniors, the final game for this Belmont Marauder roster. You know, we were talking about it in our preview special. We hope you check that out, the TOST Toddcast with Coach Q and the 5 senior captains. Just how much their time here at Belmont has meant to them, and final days leading up to this game. Talks about the family closeness. Here's a terrible snap, and it will be picked up by Mcdermott, but what happened there? It's almost like the center was expecting shotgun, and Mcdermott was not, or something, or...
Yeah, there was a cross-up somewhere on that play, Todd.
I wonder if the center thought it was fourth down and they were punting. I mean, it looked like that kind of a snap.
That had to be, what, a 15-yard loss, if not more? I mean, they were out around midfield, and they got the ball now at the 30-yard line.
It was a loss of 19. 19-yard loss on that play. Now, this is
where the defense has to stand up. They have to stop them. Hey, you got to break on that. It's 2nd and 29. So you have to make some plays here on defense. Absolutely. And I believe you're going to see Mcdermott at some point put the ball in the air.
Mason Andrade, a freshman, split to the near side. We saw him early in this game kicking some extra points. They will pitch it to Manukian, and there's a big tackle by number 40, Ryan Santoro, a junior. He'll be back next year. Santoro's been a valuable part of the offensive unit as a great run blocker out of his fullback position. There he comes up big defensively.
That was a huge play for Belmont. Now you got 3rd down and about a quarter of a mile to go. And so they got to stand up here. I believe he's going to try to get the ball in the air, maybe get it to Kamara somehow on a short play and let him do what he does. But it seems like they're not going to him, and I don't know what it is. Like you said last week.
I think part of the credit here is that the Marauders' defense has been zoning in. Remember early in the game we were asking how did Kamara get so wide open when the Marauders should have been focusing on him. Well, maybe that was just a bad play. You know, they were stunned by the fact they had just fumbled 2 kickoffs. You know, so maybe that was part of it. And now the defense is focused and they're keying in on him, and they're forcing Coach Kakachi to say, you know, find another player to beat us with. Here's
3rd and 31.
Yeah, here is the throw, and he's looking deep down the field, and that will be incomplete, almost intercepted by Jared Edwards, who had a hand on it.
I think Edwards had a better chance of catching that ball than the Watertown receiver did.
Agreed. Kamara was the intended receiver, but there were like 3 maroon jerseys in the general vicinity.
That was great coverage by the Marauder defense. And this is going to be, you know, they're going to get the ball back. They're going to get decent field position. And this offense hasn't been stopped the last 4 times they've had the ball.
So 4th and 31, and Marauders are going to get the ball back here. The wind is swirling. As Marauders will have Joe LaFosse back. Again, one of the 22 seniors on this senior-laden Marauder team, and I think all of that experience is starting to come through. Another thing Coach Q talked about, though, how impressive he is. Like, a lot of these seniors, they coach the underclassmen, too.
Right.
So these underclassmen know where
to be. Get out of the way.
Yeah, it's a short kick, and it will basically die on the 46-yard line of Belmont. So the Marauders with excellent field position and only 6:53 to go, and it's the Marauders with the 6-point lead trying to win their first game over Watertown since 2011.
You know what, Todd? There's no reason to put the ball in the air. This running game has been unstoppable through the entire game. They caught their breath after the first 2 minutes. You got 6 minutes, 53 seconds to go. Use the clock, get down there and get some points and wrap this thing up on this drive.
What's amazing to think, Joe, is had the Marauders have been able to field kickoffs from the moment this game started, they might be posting a shutout right now.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Like I said, I've never seen anything like that before in all the years of watching football on any level.
O'Connell is the deep back, and he will take the handoff from Avery Arno on 1st down, and Killian O'Connell gets close to midfield for a gain of about 4. Well, we'll say 3.
This running game just keeps churning up the yards. They keep moving the football between the tackles, and if it's not there between the tackles, they bounce it outside and get that corner, and they're just tough to bring down, these two backs.
It's also great when you can run the ball so effectively because you're also killing clock here, too.
Exactly.
You're going to force Coach Kakachi to burn timeouts as Rakai Joseph checks in for Killian O'Connell.
Looks like Killian O'Connell might have some kind of cramping on the sidelines as he's being stretched out by the medical staff.
Well, everyone's muscles have got to be pretty tight on a day like this with the wind chills approaching 0. Here's the handoff to Rakai Joseph on 2nd down. He'll get to the line of scrimmage, but that's about it. Watertown's claiming they might have stripped the ball loose. You got a few players, and they did. That is the first Belmont turnover since very early in this game.
That's exactly what you can't allow to happen. I was just thinking that, but I didn't want to say it to jinx anybody, and now you turn the ball over. Now Watertown has the ball in great position with 6 minutes to go in the game.
I'm not sure. One of the defensive players in the vicinity of Rakai Joseph was number 53, Moody Dia, and I don't know if he was the one who recovered the fumble, but someone got in there. You could see all the Watertown players motioning, and now they've got the ball at Belmont's 49-yard line with exactly 6 minutes to go, trailing by 6.
And the defense, once again, has to stand up, has to bow their backs, and make sure that Watertown doesn't punch this in for a touchdown.
Well, the Marauders' defense has just been so big since they took that kind of those early couple of punches from Watertown. Here is McDermott. He'll keep it himself. He runs to the left. Not a lot there, maybe a couple. Number 52, Kimi Arnori.
And I think where we are now with the time left on the clock to score in the game, it doesn't matter what the down and distance is going to be. This is Watertown's going to have to keep going for it here on 4th down if the Belmont defense can hold them.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we saw Kamara in any kind of punt formation the rest of this game.
Yeah.
Everything for them is...
You're on the Belmont side of the 50. You got 5.5 minutes to go, and you're down by 6. Those extra points that Belmont missed could come back and hurt them.
2 missed extra points. We'll see. It could be an 8-point game right now. It is 2nd and 8. For Watertown. Kamara is the lone setback. And just like you said, Joe, he has not been getting a lot of touches in the second half. You kind of think he might here. McDermott will fake it to him instead. And let's see if there was looking for someone open downfield, but Derek Brown will get it on the sack.
Derek Brown again. I was watching the defensive coverage, and those you see, he had no place to go with that football. I thought they might have faked it to Kamara and had him come out on like a swing pass, but he was looking downfield and there was no place to throw that ball.
Who I also want to give credit to on a play like that? Justin Rocha back in the secondary, because you know that they faked the handoff to Kamara thinking all the defense would bite. Rocha stayed with his receiver.
Yep.
And you had McDermott trying to find that receiver downfield. He couldn't, which allowed Brown to get there and make the sack. So, again, it's all about teamwork. Everyone's do your job. Everyone's staying and doing what they need to do.
Yeah,
does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah, I've heard that once.
Yeah.
I think I have a hat that says that.
And I'm surprised you're not wearing it today. You have your World Series
Red Sox. This is the newest champion.
You're wearing the hat of champions. We'll have to get you a Belmont one if the score holds up.
It's not easy being a Boston fan. You know what I mean, Todd?
Oh, are you kidding? In the last 20 years, it's been nothing but victory, one championship after another. Marauders here trying to win their own little championship in this 97th edition of Belmont v. Watertown. Marauders trying to win for the first time in 7 years and snap this Watertown winning streak. Yep.
Now, do they try to pick this all up on one play, or they just want to get a few yards here to make it a 3rd and manageable?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think I don't think you're probably riding up a play here to get you 14 yards. You're probably, you're trying to get some of it here. And then, like you said, it's obvious 4-down territory. Right. As we're now down to 3:56 to go. I mean, now the clock really is a factor.
The clock is a factor now, so it doesn't matter. They're going to have to go for it on 4th down. This defense is still up to all the challenges from the Watertown offense.
3rd and 14. Watertown has to get to Belmont's 39-yard line to pick up a first and keep this drive going. McDermott is in the shotgun. Kamara coming out here to the near side. He'll catch the pass in the flat right near midfield. Marauders surround him, and they will knock him out of bounds at the 48. He's still going to be about 7 or 8 yards short of a first down.
That was great coverage there. They wanted to get Kamara in space, and they did that. but the defense held their ground. They stretched out the field, didn't allow them to get to the corner, and were able to stop them. It's a huge 4th and 9 play now.
One of the players who helped get Kamara out of bounds, number 50, Connor Shea. Hi, Karen. There, she hates it when I do that. She hates it when her name gets said on the air, but you know what? She does a great job for the Belmont Boosters Club, and all the friends of Belmont football.
Well, they deserve all the credit for this beautiful structure behind us that we're not in.
4th down and 9, but it's providing a nice wind barrier for us. Right. We appreciate it. Low snap, McDermott digs it out. He fires to the far side. It is incomplete. Marauders will take over on downs.
With 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go, this defense again has been tested. 2 minutes into this game, I can't stress it enough, it was 20-0, and this defense has held them scoreless the rest of the way.
And now the Marauders will take over at their own 48-yard line, as Joe said, with 3 minutes and 40 seconds to go. That's Joe Habelow. I'm Todd Bloniarz. Big thanks to Jeremy Meserve, who's doing a great job on camera today, and again, like us, braving the elements here.
Is this a thanks to Jeremy Meserve? I mean, he makes us stand out here in 0 temperature.
You're blaming him for this?
And we're thanking him for doing this.
We're thanking him for shooting all the great video that you're seeing, and if you're watching us live on Thanksgiving Day, hello to all of you there, and happy Thanksgiving.
Well,
Marauders call timeout here with 3:40 left.
I just want to say that the feeling I got back in my toes is now gone again. Honey, keep that turkey going, get a fire going. I'll be home soon.
By the way, Al Gledhill, public address announcer here, longtime PA announcer here, just gave a nice shout out for BelmontMedia.org. That's the BMC website, where you could actually be watching us live right now if you're watching. There you go. Thank you to Al Gledhill.
I think Al might have been here for the first game in 1920 or 1921.
Don't tell him. I'm glad he can't hear us. They got their windows shut.
Yeah, I think Al might have been here before that game.
Again, we brought this up in pregame. The first Belmont Watertown game, you talk about Thanksgiving traditions, it predates the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which you'd think's been going on forever, but that didn't start until 3 years later in 1924. This 1921, first year these two teams met each other in Watertown, and they've been alternating fields ever since. Even numbered years they play here at Harris Field in Belmont. And here's a first down carry for the senior captain, Killian O'Connell. He's got a first down and more into Watertown territory and inside their 35-yard line. What a day in his final Belmont Marauder game for Killian O'Connell.
That was an unbelievable one. It's just a testament of what this running game has been like all day for the Marauders. They never quit. They never get on first contact. And let's not forget, credit the offensive line, because they're opening the holes for these guys. Even when there isn't a hole there, they get to the outside, and that offensive line is blocking down so that they can get to the corner.
Senior left tackle Jake Parsons, Ryan Hoffman among the left guards in there. Connor Shea's at right tackle. Sam Sagarian is usually at right guard, and Narek Stepanian at center. That's your offensive line. And they have done yeoman's work here, as Avery Arno, the Belmont quarterback, has not gone back to pass once today. He's just handing it off, and the O-line and the running backs are doing the rest.
And that clock continues to tick, Todd. We're under 3 minutes.
Another first down or two, and the Marauders will be able to wrap this one up and win their 44th game all time against the Watertown Raiders. That was, again, Chad Francis, the future of Belmont running, gets the handoff. He'll check back out, and one of the seniors will check in.
Yeah, this is very exciting for Belmont and all their fans, because it's been a long time coming, and I know there's a lot of time left to go in this game, and the way this game started, God knows anything can happen. But 2:41 to go. Belmont ahead 26-20. You know, they got the ball deep in Watertown territory. If they can punch in a score now, you know, about wrap it up for these seniors.
You're right. Well, you know, Joe, too, when the Marauders last beat Watertown in 2011, that was the last of 7 in a row, which is actually the longest win streak Belmont's had over Watertown in the series. It also concluded a 25-year run. The Marauders had won 18 out of 25 games head-to-head against Watertown. It dates back to 1986.
Yeah.
And the Marauders really owned the rivalry there for a good quarter century. It's only in the last 6 years that Watertown, their play has stepped up.
Right.
I mean, they've been a good team. We mentioned this is going to be the first year that they've had a losing record in 10 years. It's been a while for Coach Kakachi. to adjust to that. And for the Marauders, this program just continues to get better and better. Rakai Joseph will have a first down. And more, he refuses to go down. Another senior in his last game. So he gets the glory. Killian O'Connell got the glory earlier. 2 big runs for each of them here on this closeout drive as the Marauders holding on to that 6-point lead and 2:32 to go. Watertown will burn another timeout.
It's going to be interesting to see the final stats of this game and see how many yards Belmont has run for. And if you had a capable assistant, he would probably write that stuff down. But since you don't have a capable assistant, it's going to be interesting to see what they've run for, because these 2 backs have been unbelievable.
Joe, you're capable in so many other ways. What you add to this broadcast, I can't measure in statistics. And I thank you for being here, believe me, I know, especially given the elements.
Thank you, Todd, for
You know, I was getting excited when Watertown burned a timeout because I thought we could warm up around it, but
yeah.
I guess it doesn't work like that.
Not so much, no.
1st and 10 at the Watertown 12. Handoff to Killian O'Connell. Breaking tackles, and Killian O'Connell will score the Marauder touchdown! His second of the game!
So that means right now the Belmont Marauders, with 2 minutes gone in the first half, have outscored Watertown 32-0 since they scored their 20th point 2 minutes into the first game.
That's right.
This coaching staff and these players are so excited, because this is something these 22 seniors are going to remember for the rest of their lives.
Absolutely. I think everyone on that sideline may remember this, and the crowd here at Harris Field giving the ovation to this team that they so rightfully deserve.
And Todd, let's face it, the only thing that's changed in the last few years for the luck of Belmont to change is me being here on the broadcast.
That's true.
So this is my first Belmont Watertown game. So
I mean, this is my 3rd Thanksgiving Day game, but it's the first one the 2 of us have called together.
Right. So it might be, it might have something to do with me. Just saying. I'm not the type to toot my own horn, but just saying. You know.
Trout's extra point is up and good. The Marauders lead 33-20 thanks to MVP color analyst Joe Habelow.
The fat lady isn't singing yet, Todd, but she is warming up.
Well, somebody is.
At least somebody's warming, exactly.
We will hopefully be soon as well here with just 1:47 to go. We're so glad you can join us on BMC's coverage. This is BHS Sports TV in association with the Belmont Media Center, and wonderful coverage brought to you from Jeremy Mazur, who covered all the fall sports teams. Actually, congratulations go out to all of Belmont's fall sports teams, all 5 of them, including football, because they all made their respective tournaments this year. So
exactly.
Congrats to them all. This is the last game of the fall sports season here on Thanksgiving Day. Belmont Watertown meeting for the 97th time. And again, Marauders looking for their 44th all-time win in this series.
Now, after this game is over, Todd, and the football season is over, we can turn our attention to the winter season of Louisville field hockey, as Anne-Marie Habelow leads them into their winter season. Just one man start, that's all.
They have a winter season, too. What happened to the fall season?
Fall season's over. UNC won the national championships. And from the last day...
How many seasons does field hockey play?
It never ends, Todd. From the last game of the year where they're out, for the next week, the coaches can't have any contact with them. But right after that, back on the field at 7 a.m. and working out at 6. There's no end to it.
You know, there would almost be some poetic symmetry here if Hampton Trout, to close this game out, just line drive to one off.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Where we began when Watertown was kicking off left to right less than 2 hours ago. And how far we have come since. Belmont 33, Watertown 20, 1:47 to go. DeJuan Moore to hold it for Hampton Trout. And he will squib it downfield, again taken by Monroe, one of the up men, and he'll be down shy of the 40-yard line.
You know what, Todd? It's the temperature is 17 degrees. It feels like zero, feels colder than that. But you know what? All of a sudden, with 1:39 to go, 33-20, Belmont leading in an unbelievable comeback after the way this game started. I'm not that cold anymore. You know what I mean?
I know how you feel,
I feel a little bit better. I feel a little bit better today as this game, ticks down.
I know, it felt like about 30 below like 2 minutes in, but now it feels like it's warmed up to a balmy 17, like you said.
2 minutes in, I was hoping that the equipment broke down, Todd, and we could go home, to tell you the truth. But now
you were warming up the flight for that Florida remote that you were dreaming about.
Exactly.
It's plenty warm here on the sideline now. They've actually taken down the heat lamps. They still got a few of the space heaters up. And here is Kamara, and Kamara's got nowhere to go. He's being pursued by Derek Brown.
Still on his feet.
To his credit, he's still going. Finally ran on one of his own men, which is really, I think, the only thing that stopped him. I think Sagarian will get credit for the tackle.
He ran 37 yards and gained 7, I believe. But that just shows his elusiveness. And like I said, I don't understand why they didn't use him more in the second half. I just don't understand that. He seems healthy, like you said last week. He ran for over 250 yards.
Maybe get high ankle sprains though. Maybe it kind of recurred again. Maybe.
But it didn't look like it bothered him in the first half.
Well, and again, that's why maybe Belmont's defense just gets a lot of credit. I mean, there were a lot of guys on him on that play. That play kind of symptomatic of what he's done. See, now they're going to him and kind of like because they have to, really.
This defense has been unbelievable today. Another stop. I don't think he got the first down. It's close.
Depends where they spot this.
Where that ref on the far side is standing, it doesn't look like he got the first down.
Clock will stop temporarily with 45 seconds left while they decide to see where they're going to spot this.
He got it.
Nope, they're moving the chain, so that'll start the clock again. Watertown being very deliberate here. Of course, they're down 13. I mean, this is it. This is kind of these last waning seconds of this year's Thanksgiving Day game. It's
unbelievable.
We all get to bask in the glory of this. We all get to see something.
If you don't mind, I'm going to text my wife and tell her to come pick me up. Because I was smart and didn't try to find a parking space here today.
There you go. Here is Kamara again, and right at midfield, he'll be Camiar and Mitchell Pereira get the final tackles of this 2018 season. And ladies and gentlemen, the 6-game winning streak of the Watertown Raiders is over. The Belmont Marauders have defeated the Watertown Raiders 33-20 for their first win since 2011 in this series, and their 5th win of the season, their best win total in the last 5 years.
Todd, this was an unbelievable game. The way this game started, we weren't sure what was going to happen. Belmont hung in there. This defense, you can talk about the running game and the offense, and they were spectacular, but this defense, after 2 minutes into the first quarter, are down 20-0, and the rest of the way, the next, 41 minutes, 43 minutes, 42 minutes, they shut them out. The rest of the way, Watertown never threatened again to score, and this defense held down one of the best backs in New England, that kid Kamara from Watertown.
Yeah, Joe, you said it at the time. All the Marauders had to do was successfully field a kickoff, and that turned the whole game around, which it did.
Once they figured that out, it was game on. It was just, and a tremendous job by this coaching staff to keep this team together, because you could see it down 20-0. Kids were starting to hang their heads and saying, here we go again. But this coaching staff held them together, and they were able to turn this around and get the victory, a well-deserved victory.
The 44th all-time for the Marauders in their series against Watertown. They still trail the all-time series, but hey, none of that matters because it's the first win in 7 years, and the coaching staff and the players deserve a lot of credit for making it all happen. And so does Jeremy Meserve, our producer-director, making things happen behind the lens, so we thank him for that. Joe Habelow, thank you. It's been a lot of fun this year, and hopefully we'll get to do this again next year.
Absolutely, hopefully. And next year, this time, we got to sign a contract. If the temperature is under 30 degrees, we're doing it from Florida. Fire up the jet and let's go. But everybody, have a great Thanksgiving. God bless, and it was a tremendous day out here at Harrisfield.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. For Jeremy Meserve and Joe Habelow, I'm Todd Bloniarz saying happy Thanksgiving. In the final score, Belmont 33, Watertown 20. This has been a BHS Sports TV production.